Welcome to TYT Sports and Rotowire. Jason Rubin in for Ben Mankiewicz, who is off on some fancy cruise for the Turner Classic Movie Festival, I believe. So
good for him.
Good for Ben.
Yeah.
Tough life being on a cruise right now. I think it's even a Disney
I hope they don't
cruise.
make him walk the plank.
Depending on what he's gambling on,
Right.
they might.
Walk the plank. You
We'll
owe too
just
much
see.
money.
I think he's out for 2 shows. We'll know if he's drowned at sea by about week 3.
All right.
But here, of course, with Chris List, managing editor of Rotowire.com. Make sure to also check out the podcast. I know you're a few episodes deep. You can find that East Coast Offense on Twitter and, of course, on Rotowire.com as well.
Correct.
Awesome. Got it. There we go. Intros are done. Now we move on to the fun stuff. It's time to beat the book for Week 8. We're 7 weeks into the NFL season. I still feel like I know nothing. But I do know that last week you were 2-2.
That's true. And that's what you'd expect from a monkey, basically, 2-2, because they're all basically 50-50 games. Let's go back through it. Can we post?
I think we should
exactly
have.
I don't even remember.
There we go.
I wash my hands of it once it's over. Oh, right. The Saints, I really like the Colts. That was my best bet last week. I could not have been more wrong. I don't think there's many crack addicts that have not hit a rock bottom lower than trailing 27-0 at home to the Saints. The Colts hit there. They obviously came back a little bit in the second half because Delvin Breaux slipped on a T.Y. Hilton touchdown, and Chuck Pagano punted on 4th and 6 from plus territory, down 13 with 9 minutes left. And, of course, they ran out of chances when they couldn't stop New Orleans. And, you think about it. I mean, I can't complain about that because I knew Chuck Pagano was coaching that team when I took them. If I didn't know who was coaching the team, it would have been different. Yeah,
we might not know who's coaching that team in a few weeks.
I hope as soon as he gets fired, I'm taking them in the dark, no matter what the line is against, no matter whatever team they're playing. All right. I also thought the Chargers were going to do well. Those are two games that immediately I was like, I lost. They're getting crushed and they're favorites.
Right.
The Raiders, you know what? I just should never have backed the Chargers at home. It was basically a Raiders home game, and the Raiders were better than I thought. I was wrong about that. Derek Carr looks better than I thought he would be. And I have to sort of adjust my worldview to the new reality of the Raiders, which I've been slow to do, and the new reality of the Colts. I've been slow on both those teams, and those are my 2 losses. I was right on the Jets-Patriots. Thank God. Did you see how that happened?
It would have been a travesty. It would have been unfair to Sports Gambling Nation if the Jets did not backdoor cover that with the field goal. Just because that game screamed, the Jets will keep this close enough to cover the spread. That's all they had to do. They weren't going to win.
But they got down 10, and they get it to a 50-yard field goal range. They wisely decide to go for the field goal, then the onside. That's how you do it.
The penalty.
Right. And some moron on a field goal gets a false start. Dude, a field goal, you just got to stand there. It's not like you're pass blocking, right? It just takes a second.
Right.
And he gets a false start, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I need this cover. It's 50 yards for Folk is not easy. I mean, Folk is not, this is not Justin Tucker we're talking about.
I don't think there's any kicker in the NFL that makes, 50-yard field goal is never a gimme. Ever.
For Justin Tucker, it is. It's like a chip shot, okay? And Matt Bryant's pretty good, and Gostkowski's pretty good. But you get to the mid-level kickers, the Folks of the world, okay? And it's at a 50s, tough but makeable. 55 is that's where, Justin Tucker is a 60, 70% kicker, and these other guys are below 50. And I'm like, you just blew it for me, you moron who had the false start. And yet he made it, and it was no doubter. He just booted it.
He could have hit that 60.
And it was right down the middle of the uprights.
Nice.
It was a beautiful kick. So thank you, Nick Folk. And the other one was the Chiefs going super ugly.
You like the
against
Chiefs.
Steelers.
Last week's show, you talked a lot. You were talking up the Chiefs a lot, and it was not the prettiest game in the world, but they covered.
No, that was good. And I will say that Landry Jones was the third stringer, and he had one good 8-pass stint in the previous game. But come on, in Arrowhead, that was a tough matchup, and it was so ugly. And I said on my podcast, I'd rather lose with the Steelers than win with Andy Reid and the Chiefs. But then the next day, in the sober light of day, I changed my tune. I said, I want to just win. I think the Chiefs will cover. So
there you go.
2-2.
Understandably so. So 2-2 in the week for Chris. Let's see what Ben Mank chose
Horrible
of last week.
Let's see what he did.
2-2. He was, the 2 good picks I'll give Mank credit for was the Vikings and the Panthers. Obviously, he got them right. So obviously, those are his 2 good picks of the week. But the Vikings, I talked a little bit about the Vikings on Monday morning's NFL recap show that we do, and they look like a complete team. And there's not many complete teams in the NFL. Granted, the Lions are an atrocious team.
I think the Vikings are a bit of a fraud, personally.
Go on, I'm curious.
We'll see in Chicago. I think Chicago's going to beat them, okay?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's not that bold. It's basically a 1-point line, so it's not that bold.
Right.
Or 2.5. It's very low. But I just think the Vikings are a little bit of a fraud. I don't think they're a very efficient passing team. I think that Stephon Diggs is going to be a nice lift, a real receiver there. who's not just
That's
a one-dimensional deep guy, and Charles Johnson's been hurt all year, so he hasn't
It's
really been able to play.
amazing how one diving catch and welcome to the world of Stephon Diggs gets posted
had 2 good
everywhere.
games.
He has, and I'm not discrediting him for that. But in terms of Teddy Bridgewater and the Vikings, they seem to be getting better. Bridgewater, throughout last season, his last 6 games, he started completing 70% of his passes. He just might be a quarterback that just matures as the season progresses.
Yeah.
I like that about him.
I'm not saying I'm sure the Vikings are a fraud. I'm just saying I
on your
don't
radar.
believe them, and I want to see them go into Chicago. I think Chicago's going to win.
Interesting. The Bears fans.
But that's
around
not one
the
of my
world.
picks.
We rarely
Oh, no,
give
it is
Bears-
one of my picks.
It
The
is
Bears is one of my picks. I did circle it.
But,
yeah.
and we'll get to that too. So I just
20
wanna
to
throw-
16 Bears. That's my
20 to
prediction.
16 Bears. I like that already. Let's just quickly go back to Ben because I think I want to make fun of him for also taking the Colts last week.
What an idiot. What was he thinking? What was he thinking?
I forget his
What is that
exact
guy
reasoning.
thinking? What's wrong with him?
Exactly. Wow, who would ever take the Colts in that game? And then the Texans.
I thought the Dolphins would win, but by 4. So I would. I mean, I was a game I would stayed away from.
Right.
I didn't think it would be that kind of blowout. either.
I would pay a lot of money to see Ben's facial expression after 5 minutes of the Dolphins game.
Yeah. Well, 5 minutes of any of these games. I had the Raiders and the Saints. And the Colts. The same thing.
Yeah, and the Panthers pick good. The Eagles are a conundrum. I can't figure that team out for the life of me. Yeah. But let's get on to the picks. We've already touched on the Vikings, so let's go from there and continue.
So I like
with the
Chicago.
other, picks.
My other picks are Pittsburgh. You have them as a pick 'em. I had them as they were getting a point or two, but
So,
whatever.
yeah, we use
That's
football.
Close enough. Close enough.
The TYT Sports Rotowire Wednesday show uses
Okay,
pick 'em.
that's fine.
I mean,
I'm still
football
taking
ones.
Pittsburgh to win this game.
Right.
I like Cincinnati. I do think they're for real, but I also think that the undefeated team, off their bye, I just think I think Pittsburgh with Roethlisberger back is going to
back.
score a lot of points, and since he'll keep up, but they'll fall a little short. That's my prediction. I like Pittsburgh. I also like Houston. Houston is like a joke, but I just have so little respect for the Tennessee coach, Ken Wisenpunt, that I just think Houston, they're a team with a lot of talent, a lot of name players, J.J. Watt and DeAndre Hopkins
And
Jonathan
Hard Knocks was
Joseph
on there
and
preseason.
Jadavion Clowney should be good. There's talent there. At every level of the defense, they have talent. They have Vince Wilfork this year. Maybe he's over the hill. But the point is they have a lot of good players, and like the Dolphins earlier in the year, they just weren't coming together.
Right.
And I think when you face a doormat, sometimes you've been beaten down, and then there's someone you can beat up, you go and you beat them up. I think that's what's going to happen.
So you're telling me that you don't think that the Tennessee Titans will post 40 points in the first half
I
of
don't.
this game?
I think the Tennessee Titans will score, 13 to 17 points or something because the Texans D has not been good. But I think the Texans are going to score 27. They're going to win comfortably. So I like them.
Nice.
And I also like the Jets. I've underestimated the Raiders. And for you Raider fans out there, I have been wrong on them. I think they're better than I thought, but I don't think they're even an 8-8 team yet. I think maybe they're a 7-9 team, which is a lot better than I thought.
Respectable for the Raiders of recent years.
Oh, it's more than respectable. It's a miracle. But the Jets, I think, are really an elite team. That was in Foxborough that they played that very close game against the Pats.
True.
The Pats got almost covered at the end, but it was a very close game throughout. And I think this defense is maybe the best in the NFL, and the offense is at least average, probably above average, probably top 12 in the NFL. So
Chris Ivory's been a surprise. I shouldn't say surprising, actually. Executive producer Dan Keston, he was very high on Chris Ivory this year, and he's kind of proven that he can get the run game going. For the
he's
Jets.
good. He just was always hurt in the past. And then
banged up.
Decker Marshall is good. Fitzpatrick's not bad. The line isn't bad. This is a pretty good team on offense, and it's a great team on defense. And I think the Raiders, they've been okay, but they're not going to. I think a real team's going to just take it to them and crush them personally.
Right. That's that line jumped out to us too. That's your 4th and final. Or do you have
That's 4. I'm going
4th.
Chicago, Pittsburgh, Houston, and the Jets. I also like, just to throw in there, we won't count this one. I like the Rams to blow out the Niners.
It's a big spread, 8.5.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be 10 when I was looking at the lines. And then I also kind of like Tampa Bay to shoot it out with Atlanta and keep it close.
Interesting. Very interesting. I like the St. Louis pick. The Tampa Bay one, I don't know. I don't believe that the Falcons are what they are showing.
Yeah.
So that's a good reason to take Tampa Bay. But I think I've been saying the Falcons and the Saints will have similar records by week 11, week 12.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Yeah. Although the Falcons have a really easy schedule.
That is good point. So TYT Sports likes the Jets. Not a big enough spread, -2. I mean, and nothing against. And I'm not trying to hate on the Raiders. I am huge on Amari Cooper. Right. I love watching him play.
And you hate the Jets, right? You're a Giants fan.
I don't hate the Jets,
dude.
They've always just kind of been.
I gotta leave. I'm not cool with this anymore. I
gotta go. To me, it's
how could you not hate the Jets as a Giants fan? Did you not fight other people in your local town growing up?
No, when I was growing up,
like the Jets,
all my friends had intelligent parents that made them Giants fans.
I see. So you didn't have this. Yeah. So see, in the '80s, I grew up before the Giants were ever good. So there's a lot of Jets-Giants. It was a very serious rivalry.
It was a big rivalry. For me, it's only been Cowboys, Eagles, and like the Pigskins are kind of just there. They don't really matter too much to me as a Giants fan. But the Cowboys and the Eagles, for sure, the only two teams I really dislike in the NFL. The Jets, they're fine. I'm happy betting on them. We have Chris Ivory in the TYT Sports Fantasy League. I'm fine with the Jets overall. Although I do love Amari Cooper. I hope he continues to do well, but not well enough to score enough touchdowns to make this game go in Oakland's favor. And the other pick that team at TYT Sports likes is Green Bay, also on the road, but coming off a bye week, if I'm correct, for the Packers. Aaron Rodgers has been dissecting, it seems like, every defense in the NFL. I know Denver has a great defense, but I don't think 3 points is enough. I think it's going to be close, but not 3 points.
Let's talk about
5,
this
6 points.
This is the weirdest game I've ever, this line. I was like, it's going to be Green Bay +3, right? They're 6-0 teams. You're in Denver, which has one of the bigger home field advantages in football. And the Packers don't travel well. They're a bad road team. They got killed by Buffalo last year on the road. They're unbeatable at Lambeau usually and not good on the road. They're going, okay, they're getting 3. Wait, they're laying 3? What the hell's going on here? Well, whatever it is, right, they're trying to get you to take the Broncos because it's just so obvious. And I took them. I said, I'm going to take the obvious.
So you're falling for the trap?
I'm going to take the trap. They got the Packers, the receiving core, they haven't had a deep threat all year since Jordy went down. Eddie Lacy's been banged up, hasn't been very good. Their D's been good, but you can run on them.
It just proves how much Aaron Rodgers has to do.
Well, and how low Peyton Manning's fallen. I mean, how much disrespect with that line. Laying 3 on the road, that's crazy. So I took Denver, but I do always get nervous when the line doesn't make any sense. Usually it's the nonsensible side that covers.
Who creates these lines? What magical department
of the
Vegas
makes it.
The Westgate Sportsbook is that who sets the line still originally?
I don't know who sets the original line, but some bookmaker sets the line, and then then the sharps and the public go have at it, and they beat it down or they don't move it. And this line hasn't moved, so
it's still early enough.
It's early enough, but I mean, you'd think that if someone was like, "Well, this is crazy," everyone should jump on Denver and the line should come down, but it hasn't happened yet. Usually, it would happen by now.
Yeah, that's interesting. I always see VegasScoresAndOdds.com. You can always see where the money is, at least on most of the. And I always see Westgate Sportsbook as the first.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is.
So I wonder if it still is them. Darren Ravel tweets about it all the time as well. So all right, quick recap as we always do for your picks, Chris, if you may.
I'm taking the Bears getting a point at home against the Vikings. I am also taking the Steelers as a pick'em home against Cincinnati. I'm taking the Texans laying 4 at home against the Titans, and I'm taking one road team, the Jets, laying 2 in Oakland.
Very nice. Team TYT Sports, which is going to be filling in for Ben Mankiewicz this week, taking the Jets as well. We also like the Jets pick, Chris, and Green Bay giving an odd 3 points to the Denver Broncos. Make sure to subscribe to TYT Sports. Make sure to check out Chris and his articles over at rotowire.com, including the East Coast Offense podcast. You can find it on Twitter. Is it at Chris Liss?
At Chris_Liss.
At Chris_Liss. Who has at Chris Liss?
Somebody beat me to it. I was late to Twitter, so
somebody beat
not like
me
my name is that common, but it's common enough.
If you always go look back and you go like, I should have just been at Chris, be the only.
I would love to have done that.
Twitter.
I would love to have done that.
Great.
But I was a late adopter.
There we go. All right, so make sure to check out all the good stuff, and we'll see you next week.